Hello kids, we are doing chapter number 3 of Ganita Prakash, class 7th, A Peek Beyond the Point, and today we are going to begin the topic 3.4 Decimal Place Value. You may have noticed that whenever we need to measure something more accurately, we split a part into 10 smaller equal parts. We split a unit into 10 1/10ths and then split each 1/10th into tens, 1/100ths, and then we use these smaller parts to measure. So as we have seen in the previous topic that for calculating accurately, we used to split the units into tenths and then we also used to split the tenths into smaller tenths. So basically हमने units को tenths में और hundreds में convert किया था so that we could measure the very small values more accurately. Can we not split a unit into 4 equal parts, 5 equal parts, 8 equal parts, or any other number of equal parts instead? So is it only the way that we can split the units into 10 equal parts and so on? Can't we split them into 4 equal parts or 5 equal parts or whatever parts we want to? Yes, we can. The example below compares how the same length is represented when the unit is split into 10 equal parts and when the unit is split into 4 equal parts. If an even more precise measure is needed, each quarter can further be split into 4 equal parts. Each part then measures 1/16 of a unit, that is 16 such parts make 1 unit. So in the previous topic, as we have already seen, that the unit can be divided into 10 equal parts and then those 1/10ths parts can further be divided into 1/100ths part. Right. Now here we are going to look at the example that how a unit is divided into 4 equal parts. So in this diagram, you could see the unit between 2 and 3 is divided into 10 equal parts, 10 equal subparts. Now we are going to divide this unit between 2 to 3 into 4 equal parts. So the first part would be 1/4. The second part would be 2/4 and the third part would be 3/4. So how will you read this? 2 and 1/4, 2 and 2/4, 2 and 3/4. और अगर मुझे इसको further divide करना है, so each of these 1/4 part can further be divided into 4 parts. Now if I would like to say that how would we measure any part between 2 and 3, it would be 1/16th of a unit, or we can say 1/16th part. Alright. तो पहले 4 smaller parts में divide किया and then we can further divide them into 4 equal parts. So overall the unit is divided into 16 parts. Then why split a unit into 10 parts every time? So they are saying if we can use any divisions of a unit, like we can divide that into 4 parts, 5 parts and so on, then why do we always prefer that it should be divided into 10 parts? The reason is the special role that 10 plays in the Indian place value system. For a whole number written in the Indian place value system, for example 281, the place value of 2 is hundredths, that of 8 is tens, and that of 4 is ones. Each place value is 10 times bigger than the one immediately to its right. Equivalently, each place value is 10 times smaller than the one immediately to its left. So for example, if we consider the number 281, so what is the place value of 1? It's at the unit place. So can we write it as 10 to the power of 0 times 1? Now for 8, it is at the tens place. So 10 to the power of 1 into 8. Expanded form में ऐसे ही तो लिखते हैं. And then for 2, we will write it as 10 to the power of 2 into 2. Right? जब आप इसको सॉल्व करोगे तो क्या होगा? 100 into 2 हो जाएगा. यहाँ पे ये 10 into 8 हो जाएगा. और यहाँ पे ये 1 into 1 होगा. So the place value of this number is going to come as 1 at 80 and at 200. And then you add them all together. So it becomes 281. So this is a system. So if you consider that every place is just increasing by 10 towards the left and it is decreasing by 10 towards the right. That means every number is 10 times bigger to the number on its right. Each place value is 10 times bigger than the one immediately to its right. And hence we use this Indian national system, or इसीलिए we always try to divide the parts into 10 units. 10 ones make 110, 10 hundredths make 100, 10 hundredths make 1000 and so on. So what does that mean? So 10, 1, मतलब 10 को if we multiply with 1, it makes 1 10, right? 10 बन गया एक. Then 10 tens. So let's multiply 10 with a 10. It makes 100. And similarly, 10 when multiplied with 100 makes 1000. Each place value is being multiplied with 10, right? Now, if you multiply 1 with a 10, you get a 10. Then if you multiply 10 with a 10, you get hundreds. Then hundreds with a 10 gives you 1000. And then when you multiply 1000 with tens, you will get 10,000. So as we move from right towards the left, the place values are increasing by a factor of 10. Now let us see what happens as we move from the left towards the right. अगर हम इस डायरेक्शन में जाएंगे तो क्या हो रहा है? Each place value is getting divided by 10. 10,000 से divide किया 10 को, so you get 1,000. Then divided by 10 again, you get 100. And then divided by 10 again, you get a 10. And then 1. So as you move from left towards the right, the place values are getting divided by 10, and as you move from the right towards the left, the place values are getting multiplied by a factor of 10. In order to extend this system of writing numbers to quantities smaller than 1, we divide 1 into 10 equal parts. What does this give? It gives 1/10. Further dividing it into 10 parts gives 1/100 and so on. So now if you further move, आप इससे further right side में जाओगे तो क्या हो जाएगा? Let's divide 1 by 10 again. So you get 1/10 of a part. Now let's divide 1/10 with a 10. You will get 1/100th and so on. So as you keep moving, you will get more and more smaller parts. So the same thing is again shown. जो अभी मैंने आपको दिखाया है कि 1 को जब आप 10 से मल्टीप्लाई कर रहे हो तो आप जैसे let's move from right to the left. So 1 multiplied by 10 gives you 10. Then 10 multiplied by 10 gives you 100. 100 when multiplied with 10 gives you 1000. And 1000 when multiplied with 10 gives you 10,000. Now let us move from the left towards the right. So 10,000 को जब 10 से divide किया, you get a 1000. Again 1000 when divided by 10 gives you 100. Then 100 when divided by 10 gives you 10. 10 when divided by 10 gives you 1. Now you want to break into more smaller parts. So when 1 is divided by 10, you get 1/10 of a part. And when 1/10 is divided by 10, you get 1/100th of a part and so on. और यहाँ पे भी देखो, when you multiply 1/100th of a part with a 10, you get 1/10. And when you multiply 1/10 with a 10, you get 1. So can we extend this further? Yes, we can extend this further. थोड़ा सा टेबल और extend करते हैं. So when we divide 1 by 100 by 10, what do we get? We get 1,000th of a part. Similarly, again, let's divide 1,000 by 10. We will get 1 over 10,000, which is 1/10,000th of a part. And in this direction, if I again multiply with 10, I'll get 1 lakh, right? And then further, I'll get 10 lakhs and so on. So yes, we can keep extending it further by multiplying with 10 towards the left and dividing it by 10 towards the right. What will the fraction be when 1 over 100 or 1/100th is split into 10 equal parts? So let us split it. We have to split this 1/100th again into 10 equal parts. So let's divide it by 10. So when you divide it by 10, you will say 1 by 100. Converting the division sign into multiplication, you multiply with the reciprocal. So it will be 1,000th, right? So 1,000 such parts make up a unit. Now, as you could see, 0 से 1 को we have divided it into 10 equal parts. 1 over 10, 2 over 10, 3 over 10 and so on up to 9 over 10. And then this one will be 10 over 10. और 0 को हम लिख सकते हैं 0 over 10. Now again the 6 by 10th part and 7 by 10th part, right? They have been further divided into 10 equal parts. So it would be 61 over 100, 62 over 100, 63 over 100 and so on. You will get up to 69 over 100 and 70 over 100. Now let's take this 66 hundredth part and 67 hundredth part and let them divide again into 10 equal parts. So it would be 661 over 1000, 662 over 1000 and so on up to 669 over 1000 or 670 over 1000. Just as when we extend to the left of 10,000, we get bigger place values at each step. We can also extend to the right of 1,000, getting smaller place values at each step. So what they are trying to say is, जब आप ये 1 unit पे थे, so as you move towards the left, you get it multiplied by 10 at every step. So 1 से 10 आया, again multiplied by 10 you get 100, then 1000, then 10,000, then 1 lakh, और इसके बाद 10 lakhs आ जाएगा. But as we move towards the right, what we are doing? We are dividing it by 10. So 1 divided by 10, 1/10th, then 100th, then 1000, and 1/10,000, and so on. So this way of writing the numbers is called the decimal system, since it is based on the number 10. Decim means 10 in Latin, which in turn is cognate to the Sanskrit dasha meaning 10. With similar words for 10 occurring across many Indian languages including Odia, Konkani, Marathi, Gujarati, Hindi, Kashmiri, Bodo, and Assamese. We shall learn about other ways of writing the numbers in later grades. Basically, this system in which we use 10 as our base is called as a decimal system. And why is it called a decimal system? Because decim in Latin means 10. And also in Sanskrit it is called dasa, which is again meaning 10. So this is our decimal system in which we use 10 as our base. Right? लेफ्ट को जाओगे तो 10 से मल्टीप्लाई करते चले जाएंगे, राइट को जाएंगे तो नंबर्स को हम 10 से डिवाइड करते चले जाएंगे. नेक्स्ट इज हाउ बिग. वी ऑलरेडी नो दैट 100 tens makes 1000. Let's see, 100 tens, right? That will make 1000. Yes, of course it is. And 100 hundreds. So let's multiply 100 with 100. That will make 10,000, right? So we already know that 100 tens makes 1000 and 100 hundred makes 10,000. We can ask similar questions about the fractional parts. So the first question is, how many thousand makes 1 unit? So let's multiply 1000 with the thousandth. जब हम 1000 parts लेंगे of 1000 each, it will make 1 unit, right? So we can say 1000 thousandths make 1 unit. लिखोगे कैसे आप इसको? 1000 thousandth. 1000 मतलब 1000, और thousandth will be, that will make it 1 unit. Then how many thousands make 1/10? So 1000 लिख लेते हैं, और इसे हमें किससे बनाना है? 1/10. So let us multiply it with 100. So you get 1/10. So 100,000 makes 1/10. यहाँ पे 1000th make 1 unit. Then how many thousandth make 100th? So let us do this also. So how many thousandth makes 100? So let's multiply it with 10. So that you will get 100th. So 10 thousandths make 100th. Then how many tens make 1/10? So we have to make 10 by 1/10. So let's multiply it with 100. So 100 1/10ths make it 10, right? So 100 tenths make 1/10. 1/10. Okay. How many hundreds make 1/10? So you have to make 1/10 out of 100th. So let us multiply it with 1000. So you will get 10. That means 1000 hundredth make 1/10. So make a few more questions of this kind and answer them. So you can make many more questions. So let me write one question. How many thousands make 100? ये भी लिख सकते हैं. So how many thousandth? तो पहले तो 1000 नीचे लिखेंगे, 1000. How many thousandth है ना? So let's write 1000. अब मुझे इससे क्या बनाना है? 100 बनाना है. So if I multiply it with a lakh, right? So all these 3 zeros will get cancelled away and I'll get 100. So 1,00,000th will make 100. So I think this concept is clear to you all, and you will be able to make many questions like this. Notation, writing and reading of numbers. We have been writing numbers in a particular way, say 4, 5, 6. Instead of writing them as 4 into hundreds, that's 400, plus 5 into 10, that is 5 tens, plus 6 into 1, that is 6 ones. Similarly, we can skip writing tens and hundreds. So the form which they have mentioned over here is the expanded form of the number in Indian system. Can the quantity 4 and 2 tenths be written as 42? Skipping the 1 by 10 into 1 by 10? If yes, how would we know if 42 means 4 tenths and 2 units, or it means 4 units and 2 tenths? Similarly, 705 could mean 7 hundreds, 0 tens and 5 ones, 7 tens, 0 units and 5 tens, or 7 units, 0 tens and 5 hundreds. So first of all, this is the wrong way. 4 and 2 tenths cannot be written as 42. That's a wrong representation, right? Because in 4 and 2 tenths, how would you say? इसको आप कैसे लिखोगे? 4 plus 2 tenths. That means that is at the 10th position, right? 10th position. And this is at the 4 is at the ones position or the unit place, right? Ones place or ones position or unit place. All these representation of 705 are not correct, right? The first one is correct, but we should know what is the way, what is the method, that how do we write the numbers and how do we read the numbers. So let us study about this method. Since there are different quantities, we need to have distinct ways of writing them. To identify the place value where integers end and the fractional parts start, we use a point or a period dot as a separator called a decimal point. So this dot is referred to as a decimal point. Whenever you have to separate a number from its fractional part, we use this dot, and this dot is referred to as a decimal point, which indicates that after this decimal point, the fractional part of the number starts, and before that, the integer part was there. So the above quantities in the decimal notation are then, so 7 hundreds and 5 ones. इसका decimal notation क्या है? 705 ही रहेगा. But 7 tens and 5 tens लिखा है, तो 7 tens, that is, you are going to multiply it with a 10. After that, expanded form लिख रहे हैं. और 5 tenth है, तो मतलब बीच में कुछ भी नहीं है. So 0 into 1's place, and then you will have 5 tenths. So 5 into 1 tenth. So 7 into 10 is 70 plus 0, and then this is 5 tenth, right? So as we said, 70 plus 0 would be 70 plus 5 tenth, and the fractional part is represented after a decimal point. So we may write it as 70.5, right? Now here, this is 500th, right? 7 units and 5 hundredths. So the fractional part would be at the 100th place. So it would be 7.05. अगर मुझे लिखना होता 7 units and 5,000, तो मैं कैसे लिखती? Again, I would write 7. Then it would be a point, and then 005. So it would be at the 1000th place. So this is the 10th place. This is the 100th place. This is the 1000th place. Now this is the ones place. If I have a digit over here, it would be tens, then hundreds, then thousands, and so on. These numbers, when shown through the place value, are as follows. So let's look at the place value. I have already explained this above. So 705, it would be 7 times of 100, 0 times of 10, and 5 times of 1. Then you put a decimal point, and since we do not have any values, these are blank spaces. Then 70.5, so 7 is at the 10th place, 0 times of 1, then decimal, and 5 is at the 1/10th place. Again 7.05, so 7 is at the units place now. Then you put a decimal point, then 0 is at the 10th place, and 5 is at the 100th place. These spaces consist of the number of the tens. So you multiply with 10 means how many tens are you supposed to take. So let me take, like, for example, if I have to say 70.5, right? So I am going to take 7 tens, 0 ones, and then 5 tens. and here again 0, 100. So this is the way how you represent the numbers with the decimal point and in the decimal number system. Thus, decimal notation is a natural extension of the Indian place value system to numbers also having fractional parts. Just as 705 means 7 times of 100 plus 5 times of the 1, the number 70.5 would mean 7 times of 10. Now you are including the fractional part as 5 times of 1/10. And 7.05 would mean 7 times of 1 plus 5 times of 1/100th. So we have seen how to write the numbers using the decimal point, but how do we read, say, these numbers? So we know that 705 is read as 705. तो सबको पता है, we are learning this from very small classes. Then 70.5. So I am reading it as point. 70.5 में आपका fractional part भी है और integer part भी है. 70.5 will be read as 70.5. आप एक साथ इंटीजर वैल्यू को बोल रहे हो 70, फिर डेसिमल को आप पॉइंट बोल रहे हो और उसके बाद जो आपका लिखा है उसको आप 5 लिख रहे हो. Short for 70 and 5/10. So instead of now saying it as 70 and 5/10, we will say 70.5. 7.05 is read as 7.05. So whatever digits comes after the decimal, we just call them as 0, 5, 1, 2, 3 and so on. Short for 7 and 500. Now this would be read as 0.274. We don't read it as 0.274. हम वहाँ पे place values को use नहीं कर रहे हैं. We are simply taking the names of the numbers after the decimal point. So it is 0.274. We don't read it as 0.274, as 0.274 would mean 2 1/10s and 7 100ths and 4 1,000ths. For example, let me write a number, a big number like 62.328. So you are going to read it as 62, then you will write a point. So you say 62.328. No and will be there, no 10, 100, 1000 will be there. You can simply read it as 62.328. डेसिमल पॉइंट के बाद जो भी नंबर्स आते हैं आप सिर्फ उनको कॉल आउट कर देते हो नंबर्स को. Now make a place value table similar to the one above. Write each quantity in decimal form and in terms of the place value and read the number. I have just constructed a simple table. Let me give the names to this place. यहाँ पे हम ये पार्ट लिखेंगे. So this is the decimal point thing. I have made it short. आप एकदम exactly ऊपर से देख के उस तरीके का टेबल बना सकते हैं. So here is a decimal point. Then here it will be ones place. Then tens. And then hundreds. Because these many type of numbers are given जो हमारे यहाँ तक sufficient होंगे. Then this will be tenth. This will be hundredth. And this will be thousandth. Right? So 2 ones, 3 tens. So यहाँ पे decimal आ जाएगा 3 tens. So it would be 3/10. And then 5 hundreds. So it would be 5/100. And how will you read it? You will read it as 2.35. Right? यहाँ पे लिख देती हूँ. It would be 2.35. The next part is 110. So here it would be 110. So 1 into 10. That would be 10. And 5/10. So it would be 5/10. And decimal point will come. So how would you write it as 10.5? Then the C part, 4 ones and 6 hundredth. Right? So you will write it as 4.06 because यहाँ पे कुछ भी number multiplication में नहीं है. So it is as good as 0. Similarly यहाँ पे कुछ नहीं था तो it is as good as 0. Then the D part is 100. So 1 into 100. And then 1, 1. So 1 into 1. And then 100th. So 1/100. बीच के जो spaces है 0 से fill कर दो. And then you will be able to write it as 101. That is 101 0.01. Then for the E part, it would be 800th and 9/10. So 9/10 will come over here, 800th will come over here. Nothing in these values. अब integral part में कुछ नहीं, सिर्फ fractional part है, so you would write it as 0.98. Then for F part, it would be 500th, right? So nothing in the fraction, nothing in the integer part, so it would be 0.05. After that, 1/10. So you would write it as 0.1. Now for the next part, it says 2 100th, 4 1/10 and 7 7,000. तो आप देख रहे हो यहाँ पे कितने सारे वैल्यूज जो है वो यूनिट्स प्लेसेस पे हैं. So let us first solve it. So can we write it as 2 plus 4 plus 7? ये यूनिट प्लेसेस को हम ऐड कर देंगे. उसके बाद वी हैव, सो यूनिट प्लेसेस की वैल्यूज को हमने ऐड कर दी, होल नंबर्स को. उसके बाद वी हैव 1/10 plus 100th plus 7,000, right? So this will become as 13 plus 1/10 plus 100th plus 7,000. Let's write this now. और 13 में भी 1 will be at the 10th place, 3 will be at 1's place. So we'll write 1 into 10, then 3 into 1, then 1 decimal point, then 1/10th, 100th and 7,000. So how do we write this number? It would be 13.117. In this chapter on large numbers, we learned how to write 2300. So 23 hundredths would be 23 into 100, right? Which is 2000 plus 300, which is 2300. Now, how would we represent it in the form of table? So 2 is at the thousands place, 3 is at the hundreds place, and 0 are at the tens place and units place. Now, आप इसकी 100 places पे अगर लिखना चाहोगे, so can we write 23 at the hundreds place? What would that mean? आप इसको 23 into 100 करोगे, right? So it will again become 2300. Similarly, 23 tens would mean, तो हम 23 tens यहाँ कर दे रहे हैं, right? So 23 tens would mean you are multiplying 23 with a 10, so it will become 230. So there are different ways of representing, but the standard form includes that you write only one number at one place. How can we write 234 tens in decimal form? First of all, 234 tens means 234 over 10, right? Now you have divided it into different sections. So you can write 200 over 10 plus 30 over 10 plus 4 over 10. Up 200 over 10 will become 20. 30 over 10 will become 3. 4 over 10 is 4 over 10. When you add 20 and 3, you will get 23.4. So 2 tens and 3 ones and 4 tenth. अगर आप ऐसे expanded form में लिख रहे हो, या फिर you could also write it as 234 tenths. Now write these quantities in decimal form: 234 hundredths and 105 tenths. So let us write. So let us take the first part. So 234 hundredth कैसे लिखेंगे? It means 234 over 100, right? Now can we write it as 200 over 100 plus 30 over 100 plus 4 over 100. So 0 and 0 gets cancelled away, so you will get 2. Then again 0 and 0 gets cancelled away, so you get 3 tenths and 4 hundredth. So in the decimal representation, it would be written as 2.34. Let's go for the next part. So it's 105 tenths. How could we write this? It would be 105 over 10. Now we can write it as 100 over 10 plus 0 times of 10, that is just 0 only, 10 plus 5 over 10. So this will be 10 plus 0 plus 5 tenths, and it could be written as 10.5. So these are the decimal forms of 234 hundredth and 105 tenths. With this, we come to the end of our topic 3.4, In our next video, we will continue with the topic 3.5. So please subscribe the channel, hit the like button and also share the videos with your friends. Thank you.